Hey everybody, David R. Becker here with BeckerArt, and today I want to talk to you about not framing your watercolors with glass and mat board. You may ask yourself, why, David? Why should I do that? Why would I not use glass? And well, for one reason, I've been doing these plein air events, and it's so much easier to frame your work if you just have to put it into a frame without glass or a mat board. Yes, you can pre-cut it and stuff, but most of us watercolors never use board to size, standard size frame size. And so we're just using our paper that we buy. And for some reason, the paper companies don't actually make the sizes to fit frames. It's basically you get a mat board and then you cut the mat to the frame, standard frame size. But what I wanted you to do, and the reason I want you to do, is because it makes the impression of your paintings being more valuable. And it has worked. I've now started to just wax my paintings, put them on, paste them to a board, and then just staple them in and underpin them, not underpin them, what do they call those, point driver into the frame. So let me just show you. There are a couple of things you got to realize is that, for one, is that when you're doing that, you want to like get a nice wide frame. And so like nowadays they have these are called plein air frames that you see right here. And plein air frames are wider and it's almost like they have a mat within the frame. So that's kind of a nice thing. Then you don't need to have the glass or the mat board because it's already, the mat board is kind of there and your wax will protect it. Now in a little bit I'll tell you how to wax it and how to glue it to a board. But first I just want to show you the kind of frames you kind of want to get. So if you're, you can also get there nowadays. They have some really nice modern ones, and so they have these modern ones now, and it looks, they're not all white, but they just basically come wider, and it looks like there's a mat on them. And a lot of the frame companies are now making them for watercolorists and oil painters, of course, because they just plop their canvas panel right into the thing. And so we have to start making our watercolors on panels that are standard sizes. Now, normally watercolorists, what do they do? We normally do this, right? We take a thin frame, a large mat board, and sometimes the mat board is dark, sometimes it's light. We double mat it, and that all costs money. Each time you put a board, double mat it, triple mat it, and then you have to take by the frame, and then you also need to have the glass. And then the glass right away makes it kind of seem like it is framing a poster. And that's why I think we've kind of hurt ourselves, watercolorists, and also because we're putting a lot of prints behind glass too, and because you're protecting it basically. But the prints, would be fine to still put behind there, but our watercolors, we want to make them look just as valuable, and the perception that they're just as valuable as an oil painting. And a lot of artists, watercolors, are doing that right now. So yes, we also have a skinny frame, right? And so then you also have white mat board with a skinny frame. Again, there got to be three things you buy before you even get going. So with just buying one frame and stapling it in, that's just one frame. No glass, no mat board. Yes, you have to buy wax to wax it, and you still have to do the wiring in the back, but that's all part of the other parts too. So then we also have, when you do watercolors with no mat, you have no mat whatsoever, and it's just the frame and right to the thing, and that doesn't look so great except if it's like a modern frame or put in a modern home where there's no mat and not a wide frame. And that's one way of doing it too. But even this, you need a larger piece of glass. So, and then how do you separate the glass from the actual painting? So this is nice to have the frame a little bit wider when you do that. So let's go on. And so I saw this last couple weeks. I saw it at a plein air event, and I also was online and I saw this Richie Vos, I think his name is, really great artist. And I saw this of his. He won an award on this painting, but look at his frame back there. It's kind of weird because I've been looking at frames a lot because I want to see how everybody frames their work. And it's amazing how rich it makes it look. And he's a watercolorist, this Richie Vos, from Texas, and he was at a Texas plein air event, and I saw a bunch of the work he did is just wonderful. And if you go to my newsletter this week, I put him as an artist of the week, and it's just beautiful frames. I mean, I love the framing where it's wider, but then it also has this white inner lining that is also nice. See this little inner lining right here? That's white, and then you have the silver frame with the, the kind of plein air look. And it's just an added piece to this kind of framing. And then no glass. I don't think he had glass on there, but we wouldn't have to if you wax it. So then we have the painting and no glass, and it looks so rich. And there's a watercolor. I think people think that watercolors have to be, behind glass to be protected. But if you're protecting it with the wax, and some people even varnish it, I use wax only because it doesn't yellow. So that's the reason I use wax. But so the first thing you got to do, and let me just put this up to you, is that you need to start looking for you have to start painting standard size frame sizes. And so here's a list. You can just jot these down, and in this, there's also more popular ones like 11 by 14, 8 by or 8.5 by 11, 14 by 18, 16 by 20, 20 by 24. Those are a little bit more standard than some of these that seem really like 4 by 12. That's a pretty thin, long, elongated frame. But these are the sizes that framers make their frames. And so you have to then take your paper, put it on a board or buy the board, and then glue it to the board. Or they also a lot of the companies now are gluing their papers to board, and so I know our Legion is doing that, and they're actually doing it on aluminum, and so there'll be really really nice panels that you can put right into the frame, and then wax them. So what you basically have to get first is you have to get a board. You have to get a board, and so you can get things like a gator board. You can get a gator board like this, and gator board is like that foam core, but a little bit thicker. You can glue it onto there. You can glue it onto hardboard. They also have hardboard. And let me just get this out of the way. You can have hardboard, and these are all available like on Amazon or Jerry's or Cheap Joe's. They actually sell panels, also wood panels, like plywood type panels that are 1/8 inch thick, and that you can then, and to standard size. And so they have to make sure that they're standard size. So don't buy stuff that's not standard size, because you're going to be gluing your paper to these panels. And then what do you need to glue it? You need just Modge Podge. And so Modge Podge is this. You can buy this like at Walmart. You can buy this anywhere. Walgreens, I think. A lot of places sell, like hardware stores also sell Modge Podge. And you just use this as a glue, and you glue down on the board, and you glue it on your paper and press it down, roll over it. And I even have a video, if you subscribe to my channel, and then go search for gluing paper down to board. Also, what else did I have on there? Like, yeah, I'm working on a panel, or waxing, and that's another thing. And so what do you use to wax it? And so it's basically called cold wax, is what you're going to be using to. It's Dorland's cold wax, and this is what you use to then protect your watercolor. It's very simple to apply too, and I also did a video on that and how to apply this. Basically, you're just rubbing it on, basically, and it does not affect the watercolor at all. But again, buy yourself a standard size board, or even buy yourself, sooner or later, a lot of these companies are going to be putting their papers, gluing them into a board, so you don't have to. But if you don't want to spend the money, because it'll be a little bit more expensive, but then you're not doing the glass, you're not doing the matte, and so you can save your money there. But then, yes, you do have to wax it and buy the board, or buy the Modge Podge, which is really cheap, and then just put it on there, rolling it, put a bunch of books on top of it, and cut it out. And I do that a lot. And like I said, look at my YouTube channel, and you'll find some of the videos how I do that. So basically, I'm trying to get all my students to do this, and so have a party where you're all gluing paper to boards. So, and again, a lot of people are asking me, well, where do I get the boards? Where do I get this? That's gonna be like a big pain, and it's just easier to, do the paper, and then afterwards, can I glue the paper after I get it done? But then you're not working standard size, and how are you gonna glue that piece of paper right to the edge? If let's say you're working on paper that you cut, right to size, like 11 by 14. Or 16 by 20, you cut it right to that size, and then to glue that on to the board perfectly is really hard. So I always say do the panel first, glue it on first, and then you'll have a standard size sheet of paper, And it's also nice to put on your easel when you're or on your table, because then it's you don't need to have the board taped down like you don't normally do. But now you're not going to get that little white edge when you're done. Oh well, I mean that's one of the things that you won't get, but it's better that you save a little money and also sell your paintings for more. Literally, your watercolors will become more valuable, and I've proven that in the last two plein air events I've done. I've sold my paintings for quite a bit more than what I normally do, is just a watercolor behind glass. And a lot of galleries do not take paintings behind glass because that's real estate on their wall, and they'd rather have an oil painter paint something for like maybe 2,000 when you can only get maybe 1,500 bucks for the watercolor, or even less than that. So a lot of watercolors are doing it, and so I'm telling all my students how to do it and actually show you guys. And again, I'm gonna start doing that, where I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna be constantly working on panels. Get in the habit, basically get into the habit of making your panels or buying your panels. I've been buying some of the Crescent right now because that's one thing I see that's available. Arches used to have a panel. I'm not sure if they're making it anymore, but Crescent makes one, and Stonehenge hopefully will be coming out very soon. And then now their black paper, I've been gluing down their black paper to board, and but a lot of the boards I've been using, the hard boards and stuff, they still warp a little bit, not very much. But these aluminum panels that Legion's coming out with are just phenomenal. I've worked on a couple of them, and they are just amazing. And so, boom, right away. And then you take a point driver. A point driver, I don't have a picture of a point driver, but go to the description part of my video here, and I'll be putting all those things in there for you to look at and get, so that you can point drive your picture right into the frame, and that you're done, basically done. And so also I'll have the Dorland wax, the Modge Podge, and the hardboards, and all that will be in the description. Get your stuff going and start working on panels, and then look for these great frames that they're making now. They're making some super nice frames. Now don't take a small frame now and put it right against it like I showed you the one large with no mat here, this one right here. So don't do it like this where you don't have any mat, because you still like to have that little bit of thickness to the frame, and kind of like it has a mat, because that's what a plein air frame is. Again, a plein air frame. Here's those two. That is really nice. And so these are really nice. I mean, can you imagine you're painting behind something like this? And they're not all white. Some of them are dark. I've used a couple that are all black, or the black and silver, gold and black. And some of those older ones, the ones that are, the really super fine ones. But go looking for them and just type in the internet plein air frames, and start selling your paintings for a lot more and make it a lot easier for yourself, not have to go cut a mat and get glass. All right. And so this Thursday we're doing a paint along. Please follow me, and please subscribe to my channel here on YouTube, and for more tips like this. All right, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.